What's up, guys, and welcome to another Shootout commentary, and today we're taking a look at the Montreal Canadiens, who just acquired frickin' Jonathan Drouin from Mikhail Sergachev. There's a 6th and a 2nd round conditional pick, so basically the 2nd rounder would go to Tampa Bay, and the 6th would go to Montreal. Now, this is conditional to Mikhail Sergachev playing more than 40 games next year. So if he plays more than 40 games, it's just Sergachev for Drouin, no picks. If he plays less than 40 games, well, the picks do swap. Montreal gets a 6th, and Tampa Bay gets a 2nd rounder. So let's break down this trade first and then talk about Jonathan Drouin's contract. So Jonathan Drouin's a player who had one solid year in the NHL, has had some issues with the Tampa Bay organization on and off the ice. Consistency also has been an issue, but he had a really solid season this year. He's had some really solid playoffs, also had a great playoff runs. So, I mean, we obviously know there's high potential and high talent. This guy is a top 6 player, easily. Is he a fluke? Maybe. I don't think so. Obviously, watching him play, since he's been in the juniors with the Halifax Mooseheads, I can say that he's obviously a huge talent in the NHL. One of the best most talented players, I'd say, most talented young players in the NHL, and he has a lot of upside to him. Now, here's why I think Montreal did this deal, is because they can't re-sign Alexander Radulov. Reports are coming out that Radulov is too pricey. So Montreal needs, obviously, to replace Alexander Radulov's top 6 presence. Montreal already lacking firepower. Now, if they lose Radulov and can't bring in anybody on the top 6, that would have been catastrophic. So the Drouin deal gets that done. It gets them their top 6 player. Now, there's still a hole in the middle. That's classic Marc Bergevin trying to fill up the hole in the center with a winger. That's, just what the Montreal Canadiens do. But here's the thing that's got me doubting a bit about this trade for Montreal. They wanted to trade Galchenyuk for off-the-ice issues and not being enough committed to the team and stuff like that. They traded Subban for the same reason, off-ice issues. Now, I understand Subban was also stealing a bit of the spotlight from the hockey team. At the end, he was almost bigger himself than the entire team. So I understand it's not the exact same situation, but you go and acquire a guy with Jonathan Drouin that's rumored to have his fair share of off-ice issues. So obviously here, I'm not sure what the Montreal Canadiens are going for. I'm not the GM, so I'll let Marc Bergevin handle this. But it looks like you're trading a problem for another one. Now, with this acquisition, I really wouldn't be surprised to see Alex Galchenyuk go. And here's why. I mean, you don't want to have a bunch of players who have, let's say, a bad reputation. And, you just made a move for a very strong offensive player. You want to get rid of Galchenyuk. I feel it makes sense here. Maybe if they get rid of Galchenyuk, they can re-sign Radulov. I don't know. And, Galchenyuk anyways wasn't really a center from, so it wouldn't be their big loss for their big center that Montreal have been looking for practically ever, guys. Let's not, dismiss that. Montreal has been looking for their big center forever. This trade isn't that. Some people are calling it a blockbuster. It's not a blockbuster, but Montreal is getting a great top 6 forward. And Tampa Bay is getting one hell of a prospect on defense. Now, let's not lie to ourselves. A prospect is a prospect until proven contrary. Maybe Mikhail Sergachev has a 40-game career in the NHL, never becomes anything important, is an AHL player, and Montreal wins this trade. Maybe Mikhail Sergachev becomes one of the best defensemen in the NHL, that they traded away for, let's say, a second-line winger that's going to put up 55 points a year. And maybe that was a terrible trade. But, one way or the other, the value here, I think, is fair. And obviously, the value of Drouin was a little smaller because of his off-ice issues, the issues he had with the Tampa Bay organization, but mainly because of the expansion draft. Tampa Bay has so many good forwards, they can't protect them all, so they had to move one. Obviously, Valery Nemesnikov and Alex Killorn are also names that people think they might move because they could only protect one of the two. So if you're not going to protect one of them, might as well trade him and get something for him. So that's what I think about the trade, guys. I think it was a fair trade. Makes a lot of sense for both teams. Imagine Tampa Bay, if Sergachev actually pans out and becomes a great defenseman. Look at Hedman and Sergachev as a D pairing. That could be absolutely great. That could be one of the best pairings in the NHL. So I obviously really like this trade, guys, for both teams. I think it makes a lot of sense. You know, if they were going to lose Drew into the expansion draft, might as well trade him. If they didn't want him in the organization, then they got a lot for him, I feel. You know, they didn't give him up on the cheap. A second rounder in Sergachev is definitely a pretty good, you know, value to pick up here. So nice move by Steve Yzerman. I like it. And a nice move by the Montreal Canadiens. They need to add some firepower on offense. Definitely doing that with Drouin. And obviously, if they're losing Radulov, they need to compensate. Jonathan Drouin definitely does that. Now, here's the one thing I don't like about this deal is the contract. 6 years at 5.5 a year. Are you kidding me? Why would you sign him to this? Now, this might be a steal. I'm not going to lie. You know, this is the type of thing you sign playing NHL. Because you know it's going to be a steal in a few years where the player develops to being an elite scorer. Obviously. But in the real life, it doesn't always happen that way. That player does not always become an elite scorer. Sometimes he's actually a fluke. You know, he could end up being the next Evander Kane, for as much as we know. If I'm Montreal, I'm signing him to a bridge contract. Something like 2 years, $8 million, or something like that. Why give him 6 years? Why risk it with somebody who has a bad track record of off-ice issues? I mean, to me, you're putting all your eggs in one basket here. I would not have done that. I understand that there is a huge upside to this deal. If Jonathan Drouin lives up to his potential and becomes an elite player in the NHL, then obviously this is a massive steal. I mean, the Ottawa Senators did the same thing with Erik Karlsson with his 6-year, $6.5 million deal. And at the time, people were like, well, that's quite generous for a guy that has his issues in his own end. And, you know, maybe won't develop the way, you want him to. Now he's the best NHL defenseman, and he's definitely on a very team-friendly contract for the Ottawa Senators. This could be the same situation for the Montreal Canadiens. I feel like it's a big risk. I would not have taken it, but Montreal might come out on top here. And, you know, they might actually regret this one also. So, you know, guys, make sure to tell me in the comments below, what do you think about the trade, and who do you think is the next one on the move, guys? Don't forget, this is going to be the start of a very entertaining offseason caused by the expansion draft. I mean, this could definitely be the most entertaining offseason in recent hockey history. There's been more buyouts than I've ever seen in the last few days. I mean, Beauchemin, which was expected, Girardi, just to name a few, Simon Desprez, they've started the buyout of his contract also. So, you know, there's going to be a lot of players up for grabs. There's going to be a lot of players for trades. Jonas Brodin and Matthew Dunbar rumored to be up for grabs. Dion Phaneuf now, you know, just gave the team a 12-team list he'd accept a trade to. So this could be really entertaining. Marc-Andre Fleury apparently is still on the table. I just can't wait to see what happens in the next few days before the expansion draft, guys. So make sure to tell me in the comments below, who do you think is going to be the next player traded? If you ask me, I'm going to say Sami Vatanen. I don't know why. I just feel like he is going to be traded. I mean, Anaheim has so many good young defensemen. So I feel like Vatanen is on his way out. So that's it for me, guys. Make sure to lock down your predictions in the comments. And that being said, have an awesome day.